Greetings, everyone. This is me again, Zahra, ex-Muslim, ex-Shia, truth seeker. Come to help the Muslims see for themselves and decide, and how to decide also, seeing the contradictions in the Quran ayahs. And now we have this, my search as a Shia, when I realized, for God. So when I realized that my God was beyond anything, everything, even creation and the existence uh, that we define as existence, I had a shock. And but still, like Imam Ali saying, you cannot understand God, or God's essence is maybe not in that way, but I keep saying, like Imam Ali says, you can't understand God's essence when God doesn't even have an essence. Like, what is God? What is the innate nature of God when he doesn't have a nature or anything? So sorry for that. Apologize when I keep saying Imam Ali says you won't understand God's essence, when he doesn't have an essence, actually. So I wrongly put it earlier on. Okay, now the series of why is God beyond existence, as the Ismaili Shias and the Shias, those Shias, 12 Shias, believe that because of how Imam Ali has explained it in Najl Balagha and wherever he's explained this, like I showed you in Najl Balagha, right? So, and a little bit on the Ismaili side, looking at it, and Shia side also, 12 Shia. Oh, we have the schism. This also is such a tragedy. One God, but not a number. Imam Ali says he's not a number, not a number. But then Imam Ali explains in which way he is, which way, or there's no way. But anyhow, but just to explain, like he explains, he's the only one, such that there is none with whom he may keep company and all this. Anyhow, so where we've reached now is this series of, in the series is that Allah created, and for his creation, Allah depends on his attributes, like creating, seeing, meaning he's the all-seeing, or he's the seeing above every seer, right? Every eye. That's my logic. This is what I asked my Shias, and the Shia belief would say, remember that Allah is independent of everything and anything. So the attribute of seeing has Allah, the attribute of Allah that is seeing has created, Allah has created, no sorry, the attribute of seeing that Allah has created for himself. So he's the seer who perceives all visions. He's the perceiver of all visions, or grasper of all visions. Allah has created for the creation, and thus for the highest, and thus for the highest seeing, like a witness even, or the one who grasps all visions. Visions do not grasp him, or see him, perceive him, but he grasps all vision. You remember that ayat I did in Surah Anam, ayat 103, right? So vision perceives him not, but he perceives vision. Now this perceiving of vision is his attribute, that is created for the what he has created here. Then why has he created here? Then the Shias would say, he I couldn't find, like I found in 12 Shias Hadith Kissa, why he created this when he's so needless. So Shia belief would say, remember that Allah is independent. Yes, he's needless. Then again we come to, then why would he create? So if I ask them in this way, if I tell them, no, if I come like working out that then he's dependent on his attributes, because he created these attributes for the creation he created, right? His own attributes He created. And yet the Shias would say that, remember, Allah is independent of all this. Okay, so we'll go like this. And am I missing something? You know, the Shias, because of what Imam Ali has explained, that Allah is above His attributes, beyond and above. So that you will see, it'll keep coming in the Ismaili, you know, when we go to the Ismaili side and all, website and all on this. So now, the Shia belief would say, remember that Allah is independent, the attribute of seeing, Allah is created for the creation, and the attribute of His seeing. Allah is created for the creation and thus for the highest seeing, where visions do not perceive Him, but He perceives all visions. That is just an attribute of His. It's not Allah Himself. Allah is beyond His attributes. So taking this, then now let's see what the Shias have to say. Shia says in Surah 14, Ayat 8, and Moses said, even if you together with everybody else on earth are thankless, God is self-sufficient, worthy of all praise. So in siptain.com I found this. Allah is independent. Remember, this will be the answer of the 12 Shias, or all Shias. That Allah, remember, Allah is independent. But it hasn't answered the question. If He is needless, then why did He need to create? However, we'll go like this. Allah is independent. From siptain.com, as Allah has the highest degree of every kind of virtue and perfection. And yet, He is apart from this. He is naturally free from every fault, defect and deficiency. A number of the Quranic verses extolling Allah emphasize this aspect of His glory. This is just His glory. Even His glory is His attribute, which is apart from Him, apart from Allah. The Quran declares Allah to be free from every kind of deficiency and need. It regards this freedom as an important principle of the cognizance of Allah, by means of which a number of doctrinal and ideological deviations which have taken birth regarding Allah may be detected. So the same surah they give, which I read out earlier, Surah 14, Ayat 8. So Musa, this is their translation. Musa said to his people, if you and all those who are on earth prove to be ungrateful, Allah does not at all need your thanks. He is laudable. Surah Ibrahim, Ayat 8. Surah 14, Ayat 8. Man should remember that because of Allah not being in want of anything, He is not in need of our faith, worship and obedience. So I think this is from 12 Shias, but I'm not very sure, right, that this website, it's from 12 Shias, maybe just Muslims. Man should remember that because of Allah, but it comes close to the 12 Shias and what the Ismailis say, that Allah is beyond everything. Anyhow, so we take this even as a Muslim, Islam, considering the whole, right. Man should remember that because of Allah not being in want of anything, He is not in need of our faith even. Worship, He's not even in need of our worship and obedience. Because Allah is not being in want of anything. Then tell me, why did He create all this? Now, you can tell me that He loved, He created this light who is Muhammad and Fatima and Ali and Hassan and still you haven't answered the question. So being independent of faith even, He doesn't need your faith. He doesn't need your worship, He doesn't need obedience. This sounds like coming from 12 Shias. If He wants us to be faithful and obedient, that is for our own benefit and not for His. Nothing can benefit Him. He's so needless. Right? Imam Hussain has said this. There's a saying of Imam Hussain on this. You are so needless that you cannot benefit yourself. Then how can we give you anything? So this was unquote from Imam Hussain. If the whole world becomes unbeliever, that cannot do him the least harm. Not being subject to any need. Allah is free from the limitations of time and space. He is above them. A being who occupies space naturally needs it to exist. And one who is confined to time can exist only under certain conditions at a particular time. A being not time bound can always exist, right? Okay, this is the way, this is like my pure existence. A being who is not even a being and not a non-being, according to Ismailis. You've seen that? My previous live streams on this. A being not time bound can always exist and is not dependent, can always exist, right? They have to use that word. Now, this kind of existence, what is of God? We can't know. We can never know about this, never, ever. And it is not dependent upon the special conditions of time, right? Then being timeless, why did he even create timelessness? And then we see in another place in Ismaili Gnosis page at the website, what is, how they describe or define existence also. Okay, so this is siptain.com. And then my question is, then the question would be, why would Allah need to create again? I mean, again and again this question comes up, and so explaining the Shia side to this very succinctly, like not even going to Ismailis. Conclusion, worshiping God through the intellect. Oh, now this is from Nasir al-Din al-Tusi, ismailinosis.com. So what was the conclusion on this? Like, I was searching what is this intellect, like why did God create this? The answer I didn't get, but I got this article, and from this on Ismaili Gnosis, I find the conclusion is worshipping God through the intellect. None of the adherents of the other sects, nor any of their leaders, except the instructor, Imam, meaning of this group, the Ismailis, has been able to go to the extent of unveiling the secret, and who has kept intact what Imam Ali has said. No one has kept this. No Muslim has kept this. No Muslim religious scholar has kept this intact. Right? What Imam Ali has said, that Allah is beyond his attributes. So we will look at this article, we'll go through it, but I just had to show you, at least this is very important, that only the Imam can tell you about this true God by unveiling, and to the extent where he unveils the secret of this. Nasir al-Din al-Tusi has put this. And so we have another ayat, like I was wondering, so if we say that he is beyond existence, then where do we go? In Surah 2, ayat 156, what is the interpretation, translation? No, sorry, the interpretation, the meaning, true meaning of this, the ta'wil, or now I've forgotten the difference between ta'wil and tafsir. What is the true interpretation? Would that be ta'wil of this ayat? Surah 2, ayat 156. Who, when disaster strikes them, say, indeed, we belong to Allah. So I used to say, we come from Allah. So we belong to Allah, and indeed To him we will return. Like that's the translation I used to read. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Surah Yasin ayats, to him my return, this man says. This poor guy enters paradise, and that's God's way of saying how we return to him. Tragic. With the exclamation. Sorry, I thought that was some letter. Exclamation point or mark. Okay, now we go to, so in Surah Yasin ayats, this guy says to him, my return, it was said, and to him enter paradise. This is the return to God, they say, right? And what the Ismailis also say about this, the ta'wil of this now is that we don't really, ta'wil of to Allah we belong and to him we return. Ta'wil of inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We say, by the grace of God, may he be exalted. He already is exalted, right? May he be exalted. I never understood this when I realized, grew up to realize, when my mind developed to realize, what are they saying? That may Allah be exalted? Allah is exalted, right? Anyhow, maybe by other creatures. Anyways, maybe by other disbelievers, atheists, That is, maybe, I'm not sure though. And that is incumbent upon people to say these words when physical calamities befall them and when they are confronted with difficult tasks, as God may be exalted says. Those who say when a misfortune strikes them, lo, we belong to Allah and unto him we are returning. Now, how do we return unto him? So this is just like difficult situations, darkness, then so meditation, two lights. So darkness is of two kinds, physical and spiritual. Physical darkness is due to the night and all this. They explain all this and comes from God. Darkness we have... remember that ayat I showed you that Allah says, I made the darkness. Allah made the darkness. Okay. As the sun of insight for spiritual darkness unravels difficult knots, we can see, yes, when people are overcome by physical darkness and difficulty. Sorry, I don't mean to mock Ismailis. Kind of, I admire His Highness Aga Khan, but I feel very terrible how he's led by Imam Ali and to really, oh my God, believe it. So we belong to Allah. So meaning that is we belong to Allah except what He has decreed, and to return to Him if any physical calamity befalls us whereby we perish physically. We perish physically. To return to Him is to perish physically. Now wait a minute, in Ta'wil, when the believers face a difficult question, oh God, our souls belong to the Lord of the time, receive spiritual life from Him, and our return during difficulties is unto Him. And know that we cannot solve the question and the knowledge of this with the Lord of the time. We cannot solve this question and the knowledge of this is with the Lord of the time, right? So the Lord of the time is Imam. Oh. Anyhow, so we open the door of spiritual blessings for them. Either they themselves be able to understand it, or a had rank from the hads of religion may open the door of spiritual blessings for them. Nasir Khosrow, Wajh Edin. Okay, this is not so important how to pronounce words and all this. Just get the gist of it, right? So the Lord of the time is, the Lord of the time, the Lord, this is not in capital, so that means Rab. No, that means master of the time, not Rab. This is not that Rab that Allah said, don't take anyone as the Lord. So all this going on. So many problems really. Okay, Smiley teachings. So I had to go to the Tawheed. I don't know, I found this and I realized that Imam, everyone must know God through knowing me. Since a person becomes a knower, Arif, through my knowledge, and becomes a unifier, muwahid, through my tawheed, then the reality of ma'rifat, union, ittihad, and unity, wahdat, comes completely into existence. Unity with whom? Then not with God, right? And the reality of worship becomes evident. Imam Hassan, he's one of the Ismaili Imams. Not, is this Imam Hassan ala zikri al-salam? This is not Imam Ali's son, is he? The love from Telangana. Thank you, thank you. Where's Telangana? Grishma Tenero, thank you very much for the love. Really appreciate it. You know, love is something, oh, what the greatest gift in the world. So thank you for your love. This is the greatest gift someone can give anyone. Anyone can give someone. So thank you for the thumbs up, the excellent thumbs, and namaste, and greetings with the hands together, and a rose and a heart. Grishma, Tanero, you're always here. I see you coming a lot. You're interested in this. Thank you for your love. Really appreciate it. Afraid I'm not able to do justice to that love you are giving me, you're sending me. But thank you. Love from UAE to you. Love from the universe. May God embrace you in His love. Always keep you. And maybe even then you are one with God. There's anything is possible with God. So okay, what is the most what's the most important thing is what they've said. If God is the infinite and unconditioned, what Imam has said, what His Highness Agha Khan has said here, you know, keeping with Imam Ali's saying in what we see in Sermon 1 of Najul Balagha, creating according to Imam is not a unique act. No. So, where is it? I'm just searching for it. Imam Ali. See? So, to say and affirm that God exists means that God is a something that happens to exist, where God and existence are two distinct concepts fused together. God and existence are two distinct concepts fused together. No. That, you see, you are making the distinction. But what if there's no distinction between God and existence? How are you making the distinction? I think they've jumped to this existence. Step by step, if you go logically, you can see that there can be no distinction between existence. But, okay, how they, where's that definition of God? So I'm searching here because I didn't make notes on this. So I just came to share with you, and we'll be searching online. I read this article, I skimmed through it and all this also. So I know I've found that it has the definition of existence. So, but whatever is composed of parts, so bear with me, please. Even metaphysical parts like essence and existence is caused by those parts, those parts, and cannot be unconditioned and absolute. Wait a minute. There is something which is absolute. Like, what about existence being absolute? Like pure awareness, like witness, timelessness, timeless seeing. Therefore, cannot be unconditioned. those parts, and cannot be unconditioned and absolute. Therefore, unconditioned, yeah. Therefore, but pure awareness is unconditioned and absolute. Therefore, one cannot literally affirm that God exists if it means God is an existent or God is a being. As Nasir Khusro says above, God is above and beyond existence and non-existence. So where's the definition? God is an existent, therefore not appropriate. I'm just looking for the definition also. It should be known that the absolute existence, Hasti Mutlaq, is originated by him. He's the father. Sayyidina Nasir Khusro. His ipseity transcends existence, and its opposite, which is non-existent. Okay. If God is the necessary existent, wajib al-wujud, then it means that God is composed of existence. No. It does not mean... why would it mean that, right? Because I think what they... Okay, let's just read this whole thing, this part. Plus the attribute of necessity. Attribute of necessity, and this would make God a composite being, and therefore a conditioned or created reality. Really doesn't have to be like that. But they're coming logically, I can see where they've... if God is maximally great being. Okay, wait. So now, I can't find the... Maybe it is not befitting for God to be either the cause or the effect. It therefore not appropriate to say that God is an existent. Nasirati. I read this out now. Okay, I'm going up, right? So, Christianity, neti. Not this. Hinduism also. So this is via negativa of Christianity, the Lahut Salbi. Just reading out. You may not understand right now, sorry. Hinduism, neti. Negative theology of Islam. For those who take the extreme line in this regard, such as Maimonites, anything said truly of the divine essence has only a negative meaning for us. As for the contemplative of various traditions, the negation of all those limited concepts that delude us that God is just another being among beings within our intellectual grasp is an indispensable discipline of the mind and will. David Bentley Hart, in the extreme of God being consciousness, bliss. Then let me see what is important for this. Is it wrong to describe God by such attributes as ignore? Therefore, as Sijistani and Nasir Khusro explain, the proper affirmation of the absolute oneness of God requires two negations. The negation of the positive attributes and the negation of the negative attributes. The dialect of dual negation is the most appropriate use of human language when speaking of God. Like this word is, I thought it's Greek, Latin, negation. So, God, the God of negation. Sorry, Greek food. So, speaking of God, there does not exist a disconnect of divine transcendence, tanzi, more brilliant and more noble than one by which we establish the transcendence of our originator, mubdi, by using these words in which two negations, negation and a negation of negation, oppose each other. Sayyidina Abu Yaqub al-Sijistani in the Book of Keys and all this. Okay, let's go up. Oh, God transcends both positive attributes and negative attributes. So Imam Jafar al-Sadiq was asked, does the truth lie in anthropomorphism, tashbih, or in denial, ta'til, of attributes? He replied, there is a position between the two positions. So this they explain, some philosophers negate all positive attributes from God, saying he is not corporeal, not temporal, not knowing, and not living, not powerful, not personal. Positive, so anyways. God cannot be apprehended by the senses, imagination, or intellect. God cannot change over time, moreover, yeah? So there's no change in God. God transcends matter, space, time, motion, right? And change. Imam Ali ibn Abu Talib, William C. Chittick, the Shiite Anthology by Allama Hussein Tabatabai. So Imam Ali has said he has not come into being that change or removal should be possible in him. He is not affected in his essence. Oh, so he has an essence? By recurrence of states and eons of nights and days differ not for him. It is he who originated creation with no model, being Father. No model, nothing, to copy or measure, to imitate from a deity, Ma'bud, who should have existed before him. Attributes encompass him not, lest he be defined by limits, hudud, resulting from their having attained him. He, like him, there is not. Right? Surah 42, Ayat 11, Quran. Never ceases to transcend the attributes of creatures. To state that God has 99 names, each of which has its distinct meaning, but should I read this out? Imam Jafar Sadiq teaching, Imam Ali, Imam Jafar Sadiq, Nasir Khosrow, concludes literally ascribing any names to God, including the famous 99 names, amounts to polytheism. Right? And then they give this Imam Ali. And Sayyidina Nasir Khosrow explains what is. So for them, it's mono-reality, not monotheism. Islam. About God, it's not monotheism. For God, it's mono-reality. Like the goal attributes, all possesses attributes, fashioned, name of God. Imam Ali again. Yes, you see here, foremost in religion is recognition, marifah of him, and the perfection of his recognition. This is again, I think from the sermon, Nahj al-Balagha, put in other words. So let's read this by Ismailis, put by Ismailis. Foremost in religion is recognition of him, God meaning. And the perfection of this recognition is affirmation, tasdeeq of him. And the perfection of the belief is affirming his absolute oneness, tawheed. And the perfection of this affirmation is pure sincerity, ikhlas, toward him. We have Surah Ikhlas toward him. And the perfection of this purification is to negate all attributes from him. Like, there it's written denying his attributes. Here they put this way. It's to negate all attributes from Allah. All his attributes. Due to the testimony of every attribute that it is other than the attributed object. And because of the testimony of every subject object that is other than the attribute. So whoever ascribes an attribute to God has conjoined him to something. And whoever so conjoins him has made him twofold, and whoever makes him twofold has fragmented him, and whoever thus fragments him is ignorant of him. Imam Ali ibn Abu Talib. William Chittick's setting, Shiite Anthology by Allama Hussain Tabatabai. But this is what is written in Najul Balagha, Sermon 1, about the attributes of Allah. Thus, parts cannot be God. In this sermon, Imam Ali explains that the pure Najul Balagha, you see, it's the first sermon of Imam Ali's sermon. But any rational person knows that anyone who has 99 names cannot be a single person. This, you see? So this is wrong God's nature, this left side, right side is right. God's nature apart from his attributes. Divine simplicity. God transcends all names and attributes. Number 1. Ismaili held that God is beyond both cause and effect. Ismaili classical theist called God is beyond existence itself. Where's the definition? It's a very long article explaining many, I prefer to call it monopolytheism myself, or perhaps monopoly theism. Was it this? David Bentley. God is a person without a body, conscious man, soul. Christians, Muslims, analytical Christian philosophers, William Lane Craig, conceive God as a personal, intelligent, omnipotent, omnipresent, all-good, all-loving, supreme, and maximally perfect being. Especially not exclusive. Read more. So, Shia Ismaili Muslim theology of Tawheed, absolute unity of God. Henry Corbin says, here we encounter a second axiom of Ismailian gnosis. The supreme Godhead is unknowable, inaccessible. He's unknowable. He's unknown. He's the unknown. Ineffable, unpredictable, that to which the boldest thought cannot attain. Henry Corbin. Cyclical Times and Ismaili Gnosis, page 85. Alongside these Ismaili teachings, we provide corroborating comments from David Bentley Hart, contemporary Orthodox Christian theologian, to show how this Ismaili theology is just as relevant for modern times as it was in the past. Classical theism. What else is important? Where's the definition maybe? He's above all else. The ultimate reality is often conceived as transcendent. Okay, the Imam of the time today repeatedly uses the term he who is above all else. Oh my God. Yani, His Highness Aga Khan the Fourth. Right, I'm like, okay. Oh my God. And I wanted to save this Imam. Oh, Paris Conference. The absolute transcendence of God to be emphasized and the Ismaili belief in God to be expounded in association with the general stress on the transcendence of God in the Quran, as exemplified particularly in the Surat Al-Ikhlas. Paris Conference. The Imam of the time today, yani His Highness Aga Khan the Fourth, uses the term for Allah, He who is above all else. in his esoteric teachings. Excuse me, I need some tea here. Teaching to stress the absolute transcendence, what Imam Ali has said, of God above and beyond all limits and conceptions, and the Dr. Aziz Ismaili scholar, explains the meaning of the phrase, he who is above all else, as follows. So all this explained. Number one, God is beyond all names and attributes. Number one, two, you will see. Oh, the Imam of today repeatedly, absolute transcendence of God to be emphasized. Okay. So, where did they give the existence? To exist is to, I think, come forth or stand forth. Standing forth. Trying to find that. Let me see if it's here, which called the summons, because it's summoned. The absolute oneness of God. Show how Ismaili theology is one of the foremost Islamic discourses in upholding the absolute unity, simplicity, uniqueness, and transcendence of God. Right? Which the Dawah called the summons, because it summoned humankind to the intellectual and spiritual recognition of God's absolute unity. One Fatimid Ismaili Dai has thus written, the knowledge of the absolute oneness of God, Tawheed, is the goal. It is the most glorious of the sciences and the most illustrious of the religious obligations. All the acts of worship and knowledge are based on it. The soul's recognition of it is a thing imposed on the human being. By means of it, he attains an understanding of the absolute oneness of God, Tawheed. Sayyidina Ahmad ibn Ibrahim al-Naysaburi, a code of conduct. Which has no second, does not enter into category. Shah Sultan, another Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah Agha Khan, the third. What do you mean that God is one? Could be irrelevant or unimportant. The Imam replied by explaining how if the term one means numerical oneness, then it is not correct to say God is numerically one, because that which has no second does not enter into the category of numbers. So what Imam Ali has said, so here the real meaning of the phrase God is one was explained by Imam Ali ibn Abu Talib, and then again explained by Shah Muhammad, the Agha Khan the third, their Imam, Ismaili's Imam. Leave him, for surely what the Bedouin wishes is what we wish for the people. Yeah, this isn't war, a Bedouin. The real meaning of the phrase God is one was explained by Imam Ali ibn Abu Talib when just before the Battle of Camel, a lowly Bedouin approached the Imam and said, O commander of the faithful, do you say that God is one? Blind, the Sunnis say that the blind man came to Prophet Muhammad, Surah Abbas. Here is Imam Ali just at the beginning of the battle. As for those present, admonished the Bedouin for asking such an untimely question in the midst of a battle. The Imam said, leave him, for surely what the Bedouin wishes is what we wish for the people. In other words, there is never a time when the deep theological and metaphysical question, what do you mean that God is one, could be irrelevant or unimportant. The Imam replied by explaining how if the term one means numerical oneness, then it is not correct to say God is numerically one, because that which has no second does not enter into the category of numbers. 1,300 years later, the 48th hereditary Imam, Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah Agha Khan III, echoed the first Imam's words in his public memoirs when he said that Islam's basic principle can only be defined as monorealism and not as monotheism. With such profound words, these two Imams invite us to deconstruct our limited, ready-made notions about God and orient our thoughts towards the transcendent unity of the Godhead. Oh, so this is it. I think I missed supposed to there being many gods, monotheism to one God in the, so like I'm just doing this, so reading this out, so you may understand a little bit of Ismaili Islam, going kind of, into it, getting into it a bit. So this is what, so how they've come to this, that as modern Christian theists and certain Muslim theological schools believe, is little better than professing polytheism, except with less gods. For this reason, Brian Davies, a Catholic philosopher of religion, calls this theistic personalism, and David Bentley Hart calls it monopolytheism or monopoly theism, the sort of personalist theism which reduces God to a metaphysical tribal idol made in the image of humans, allows Protestant colleges to claim that Muslims and Christians worship different gods entirely. The late Henry Corbin thus writes that the common exoteric understanding of the Shahada being a witness and monotheism in general as the mere affirmation of a single God against many gods can only result in metaphysical idolatry. Right? The real meaning of the phrase God is one was explained by Imam Ali. So it's not Shahada, Islamic Shahada. There is no God except God expresses the quintessential metaphysical insight of Islam and all authentic religions, the absolute unity of God. Contrary to popular belief, this statement does not simply mean that there is no one God, as opposed to there being many gods. To reduce the concept of monotheism to one God in the numerical sense, where God is merely a supreme personal being ruling over other beings, as modern Christian theists and certain Muslim theological schools believe, is little better than professing polytheism, except with less gods. And this turns out to be polytheism, monopolytheism or monopolytheism. Bentley Hart calls it, David Bentley Hart. So the real meaning is this, right? Okay, number one, maybe I should go to number one, theology. Oh, Ya Allah, here comes the Hazir Imam. Even in the present age, Imam Shah Karim al-Hussein Agha Khan IV, the present and 49 Salawat. Ya Shah Karim, salutations Anandi. 49th hereditary Imam of the Shia Ismaili Muslims, continues to stress the absolute and utter transcendence of God. At the 1975 All Ismailia Paris Conference, the Ismaili Imam endorsed and approved the following resolution concerning the contemporary Ismaili position on the concept of God. Here it is. The absolute transcendence of God to be emphasized, and the Ismaili belief in God to be expounded in association with the general stress on the transcendence of God in the Quran, as exemplified particularly in the Surat al-Ikhlas, Paris Conference. The Imam of time today repeatedly uses the term this already come back to this. I've read out. So I think I should read in number 1. God is beyond all names and attributes. It so calls logical Ismaili Hujjat dies each point. God is beyond, no. Where did I go to? God is beyond positive, negative. God is associated. When God is associated with a name or attribute, in scripture, ritual, or everyday speech, example, God is knowing. The real meaning of the statement is that God is the source, an originator of power or quality. God is the originator of all knowledge, but He Himself is beyond actually possessing knowledge as an attribute. God's creative act is called His word or command. This command is a single, eternal, and continuous act, which continually gives existence to and sustain all created or conditioned realities in every moment of their existence. Which one? I think I went to another by clicking here, and so-called divine names, attributes are created. Click here to see logical arguments and primary source quotes. Okay. Wait a minute. He has not come into being that change or copy, measure, living. He has not come into being. I think here must be that he has not come into being that change or removal should be possible in him. He is not affected in his essence. God cannot change. Where's the existence? Sorry, I can't find that. Time is the measure for. God cannot be apprehended by senses, imagination, or intellect. I guess you just have to trust me now on this, that I found here that existence means coming, standing forth. Now, I should have put it there, I put the wrong, another thing in my notes, but not this. He has not, wait. The principle of divine simplicity, moreover. God cannot be apprehended. Trying to find some philosophers negate all positive attributes. Therefore, Sajistani, Nasir Khusro, dialogue, negation, absolute oneness. It is wrong to describe God by such attributes as ignorance and powerlessness. All human language is limited. God transcends all metaphysical and logical categories. His ipsity, is this how do you pronounce this word? Sorry. Nasir Khusro Sayyidna transcends existence. Here maybe is the definition of existence, supreme being, necessary existence. Ibn Sina. Oh, okay, I'm going to read this, okay? This part. Even while negating all positive and negative qualities from God, some philosophers and theologians define God in terms of metaphysical and logical categories. Some people define God as the first mover, like Aristotle, first cause, like Al-Farabi, universal substance, like Spinoza, maximally great being by Plantinga, supreme being, or necessary existent by Ibn Sina, Avicenna. The problem with all of these definitions is that they place limitations on God and restrict him to the realm of created things. If God is the first mover, right, then he is essentially defined by his relation to and acting upon movable objects, which he must move out of necessity. Right? No, he doesn't move out of necessity. Actually, the Imam Ali is okay. Objects which he must move out of necessity. Really? If God is the first mover, awal. Mutaharik al-awal. Al-mutaharik al-awal. Then he is essentially defined by his relation. If God is the first cause, al-ilat al-awal, then he must create an effect, his creation, by necessity to produce effects. So if God is the first cause, then he must create an effect, his creation, by necessity to produce effects that is externally imposed upon him, and this limits God. And to refer to contingent, causer. If God is the universal substance, then each and every genus and species is composed of God. Jawhar Mutlaq. If God is maximally great being, Al-Mawjud Al-Azam, it means God is nothing more than a combination of maximally great properties. It also means that God belongs to the same level or class of existence as other beings. Why not? Like trees, cats, you see God. What does Khalil Gibran say? You'll see God waving at you. If God is the necessary existent, here, this wajib al-wujud, it means that God is composed of existence, plus the attribute of necessity. I did read this earlier on. And this would make God a composite being. I've read this. Maybe says Nasir Khusro attributed him, denied him. The categories of cause and effect, property and being in possession of property. Definition attributed, likeness to Nasir Khusro. It is not befitting for God to be either the cause or the effect. Okay. And not appropriate to say that God is an existent. It should be known that the absolute existence, Hasti Mutlaq, is originated by him. Nasir Khusro. His ipsity transcends existence. Its opposite, which is non-existent. Non-existence, right? Because he doesn't have an opposite. So to say he exists would be to say that there's an opposite to him, which is non-existence. Yeah, this is something I'm stuck at. I'll be contemplating on what Sayyidina Nasir Khusro has said. To say and affirm that God exists means that God is a something that happens to exist, where God and existence are two distinct concepts fused together. God exists means that this existent, God is composed of both essence and existence, but whatever is composed of parts, even metaphysical parts like essence and existence, is caused by those parts and cannot be unconditioned and absolute. I've read this. So God is above and beyond, not Sirah Khusra. To exist means etymologically speaking, from being as such. Standing forth. Here, I got it. I found it finally. I missed this in this live stream. David Bentley Hart. The experience of God being consciousness bliss. Oh, here it is. You see, they define existence as standing forth, right? What even I think who said this? Canadian spiritualist. I've forgotten his name. What existence is to come into. Coming. What is the meaning of existence? So, oh, here it is, standing forth. So, the precise sense in which God is not a being, or indeed the sense in which he could even be said not to exist, is as some discrete object, essentially distinct from all others, standing forth, which is what exist means. Etymologically speaking, from being as such. A being of that kind, one to which the indefinite article properly attaches, possesses a certain determinate number of attributes, a certain quantity of potentialities, a certain degree of actuality, and so on. Oh my goodness. And is at once both intrinsically composite and extrinsically innumerable. That is yes, that's why these people say that. Many gods, polytheism, pantheism, and so what is pantheism? So what's wrong in this? Oh, they just want to keep it that God is beyond, beyond, beyond. No? Imam Ali, what I mean, not they, the culprit is Prophet Muhammad and then Imam Ali. Right? Look at this. So, I want to help His Highness Aga Khan also. No, I'm just being presumptuous here, very bad. Cheeky. So, you see, what is wrong? Oh, because the whole Tawheed, Islam stands on this Tawheed, right? That there's one God. There's only God. I don't think it's La ilaha illallah. So there's no God but God. Yes, and then there's an ayat which says Wahid, Allah is one. Wahid. Now Wahid is in Arabic a number. Wahid itnain salasa arba khamsa sittin. Like that, number. Wahid itnain. Wahid is one, itnain is two. Like that. Wahid itnain salasa khamsa sittin. My aunt taught me this some time ago. So Excuse me, sorry. I have this cough and congestion, and something's wrong with my glasses really recently. I have to. Which one shall I wear? Oh. Okay, let me try this one. Oh. Ooh. Okay, I have to really go close. No, I think this one is better. So, you see, existence would be standing forth. Where shall we go? Where there are no opposites, and here we have opposites. The problem God has created for us here, He Himself doesn't have any problems because He doesn't have any opposites. That's why to call Him existence would be to say that there's a non-existence. You see? All these problems are here in time that God has created opposites. Oh, problem. The enigma, the life, the tragic enigma. That opposites must exist. Now, do you want to know? Now, knowing this God is this unknown God, but I couldn't find an unknown, like in the Quran, there was nothing that God is unknown. Right? But since this Quran comes from God through Jibrail to the heart of Prophet Muhammad, and Prophet Muhammad says, Imam Ali after me, and Imam Ali is with the Quran, and Quran is with Imam Ali. So we have to take this, and since it's not a monotheism, according to Ismailis, well put, it's a mono-reality of God. Where is Shah? His Highness Khan the Third? Necessary of existence. Speak of God as existing or as the necessary of existence. The only logical solution is to interpret all statements about God found in the scriptures, rituals, poetry, and all human discourse in an esoteric, symbolic, and philosophical manner. This means interpreting every God is X statement in the following way. God is merciful means God is the source. God is powerful means God is the source, ground. God is this. Only God doesn't have opposites, but He has created all this. And the existence means coming forth. And so also, it would have an opposite to it. God doesn't come forth. So it's something which just is. The isness. Could this be God? They would say, oh God. Still it is in existence. The isness. Whatever you feel here, or even the seer, the witness is created. Like saying that Allah, even the Quran saying Allah is a witness, Imam Ali would say that this witness is created by Allah for creation. This is an attribute of Allah and is apart from Allah. Therefore, is apart from Allah. You get it? This is the thing of Shia Islam. Forget other. So, why did he need to create? This I can't find. Oh, this one. But since God is absolutely simple, in what simple? So the creative act of God is not like a human act of designing, constructing, or making something. So what does God mean in Surah Qiyamah, where Balad, I don't know, that are you harder to create or the creation? So they will say he's talking to us or through us. He means that the universe is harder to create than us. He built it. It says that God built the heavens. What is harder to create, the heavens or you? Oh. Now I wonder what the Ismaili Tawil is on that too. He built it. Allah built, yani, constructed it. The word creation in classical theology means that God, unconditioned reality. Best God, unconditioned reality, bestows being wujud upon all conditioned realities. In other words, something being created means that it depends upon God for its existence at any given moment. Since God is eternal and beyond change, eternal. God is eternal, right? Or not? This is also an attribute of Him. And beyond change. It necessarily follows that God's creative act is also eternal and not in time. Excuse me. So he didn't really think about, he became the original creator. Otherwise, this would entail a real change in God. Furthermore, eternal. So his creative act is also eternal. But the creation is eternal and not in time. Oh, okay, so it wasn't in time, but he created time. Otherwise, that would entail a real change in God. Furthermore, from God there only proceeds a single act. Single act, proceeding a single act. If multiple acts proceed from God, this would entail multiple modalities or aspects in God's essence, rendering him composite and conditioned. But since God is absolutely simple, his act of bestowing existence, it's like a gift bestowing, which we call creation, is single and eternal. The Quran refers to God's creative act as the word, kalima, logos, and the command, amr, of God, and says, our command is but one, like the twinkling of an eye. Holy Quran, Surah 54, Ayat 50. In their explanation of meaning of creation, so how could from the eternal come the creation which is from the timeless, from the eternal, come a creation which is limited, or how can this all come about? Opposites from one who doesn't have opposites. Oh, so you'll say that the Shias will say that he is able to do whatever he likes? Oh, no, he's able. And, I think we'll go to Surah 54, Ayat 50 also. Command is but one. Our command is but one. Single. So the singularity, absolute simple, is act of bestowing existence. Sorry, there's a helicopter plane passing by. Sorry, ambulance also. Is single and eternal. The Quran refers to God's creative act as the word, command of God, and says our command is but one. In this explanation of the meaning of creation, the contemporary Ismaili Imams have explained how God sustains all created beings by His command, which in layman terms can be called His will or His thought. Thus, Islam's basic principle can only be defined as monorealism and not as monotheism. Here we come on this that I've been saying, they mentioned. Consider, for example, the opening declaration of every Islamic prayer, Allahu Akbar. What does that mean? There can be no doubt that the second word of the declaration likens the character of Allah to a matrix, which contains all and gives existence to the infinite, to space, to time, to the universe, to all active and passive forces imaginable, to life and to the soul. The creation, according to Islam, is not a unique act in a given time, but a perpetual and constant event. And God supports and sustains all existence at every moment by His will and His thought. Outside His will, outside His thought, all is nothing. Even the things which seem to us absolutely self-evident, like pure awareness, like the I am, the witness, such as space and time. No, even timelessness. Pure awareness is not of time. There is no beginning, no end. What is absolutely self-evident, like something that is self-evident and absolute. Space and time, pure awareness. Allah alone wishes the universe exists. Oh, He wishes, so the universe exists, and all manifestations are as a witness of the divine will. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah Agha Khan III, Memoirs of the Agha Khan. However, the command of, it didn't say however, but the command of God is manifested by the different qualities, attributes, and powers within the cosmos. When people describe God using a name or attribute, it is really in reference to a specific feature of created beings that reveals God's command. Sorry, I've just gotten very confused about this. For example, one who considers the finite existence of created beings, God's command is described as creation. I've lost it. I can't understand this logic and all. Sorry. This is where I used to get stuck in my Shia. You know, when the Imams would say this. So this is the problem. What I can't put my hand on right now, my finger on. Sorry, my finger on is manifested. You see, if He created in one singularity, Surah 54 ayat 50. Surah 54 ayat 50, let's go there. Surah Qamar, the moon. So there was no need for Him to, okay, after all this, can you see, is there a need for God to create anything? When He doesn't need anything, He's so needless. He doesn't need our worship, He doesn't need anything. Can we bring it like this? And why isn't this, okay, it's open. And a command is but one, like the twinkling of the eye. Yeah, command is one. Verily, all things have been created in proportion and measure. Wahidatan, one command. So if the command is one, then how come there are so many different things created? Hmm? Can we say it like this? Actually, I really need to help the Ismailis to see how we have been, and the Imam, he's been deceived by Imam Ali, and his Prophet Muhammad is a great-great-grandfather. So, this poor guy enters paradise, and what Allah means by saying, say, indeed we belong to Allah, of course, like we're created from Allah, and indeed to Him we will return. I think they would say this. So we return to paradise. According to this man in Surah Yasin, he went to paradise. He told the people who were after him, wanted to kill him, to him is my return. To Allah is my return. And then we see in Surah Yasin ayats like this, right? It was said, it was said to him, enter paradise. He said, I wish my people could know. Allah has been so merciful. Oh, how my Lord has forgiven me and placed. Why would Allah even forgive you? For what? Placed me among the honored. Mukramin. And you know, see, so where does he say, enter thou my garden? He said, ah, me, would that my people knew. For me, I have faith in the Lord of you all. Listen then to me. Shall I take other gods besides him? Besides him? Even with him, if most gracious should intend some adversity. No, for me, of no use whatever will be the intercession for me, nor can they deliver me. Yes, because God has not chosen, made other gods. You know, God could have made other gods. It would not be reasonable in me if I did not serve Him who created me, and to Him you shall be brought back. Right? To whom all of you shall be sent back. To Allah. Why should I not worship the one who created me? Because He doesn't need your worship, and He didn't even need to create. Right? This is what I'm saying. It is to Him that you will be returned. Now, this poor guy returns in the, Allah tells him, or, he's told, enter the garden. The sentence was two parts. The first part is a masterpiece of reasoning. The second part of wisdom of preaching. In the first part, he says to worship the Creator is the demand of both reason and nature, but not of God. God doesn't need worship. Creation demands that we worship the Creator. Oh, it's like that. The Shias would explain. You see, so God doesn't need worship, okay, so we can go on until the cows come, don't come home. I don't want to use these sayings and all, because I really cows will not come home. Distorting. Like one time I got really confused in this. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Like I was the benefit of yeah, like you are in doubt about them, right? Give them the benefit of the doubt. Oh, like I'm in doubt about that. Okay, so this to worship the Creator is the demand of both. That is the demand of reason and nature, not God Himself. Not God Himself. So then tell me, why did God create? I still cannot find it in the Ismaili. So we plunged into, existence. He can't be in existence. He is beyond existence, all this. And still, my question we're stuck on is then the question would be, why would Allah need to create when He is so needless? When He is needless. Yes, that's a good thing, which Maududi or who, that it's a good way to put it actually. Why should I not worship Him who created me? And I wonder even if God created this, but that's beside the point right now. I don't want to complicate things. To worship the Creator is the demand of both reason and nature, let's say. But reason in itself, how many reasonable people say God doesn't exist and are atheists? It would be highly unreasonable that one should worship those who have not created Him. Worshipping, and what really is worship? Like, so now we've got one prophet who comes and you don't see that you have to obey him. That's also a part of worship. And then you need to entirely depend on this Prophet Muhammad to come to that God which is beyond existence. Many have made mistakes in this. To come to that one true God that is beyond his attributes and come to that mono reality of God. Many, even Muslims, have made this mistake of polytheism. Right. So it would be highly unreasonable, should deny to be the servant of Him who has created him. The second part he wants is people to the effect. All of you ultimately have to die and return to that God, adoption of whose service you object to. To that God adoption. Oh, therefore you should, adoption, you should consider for yourselves as to what goodness you could expect by turning away from Him. Be grateful and all this, yes. Acknowledgement, who first brought this creation into existence. And yes, he's responsible for all this opposites and all. What about that? So you see, we and to heavily now rely. Oh, so Surah Zumar ayat 3 again, the Awliyas they worship. So he on one hand he tells the polytheists, because you worship them, but it is implied that you heavily have to depend on Rasulullah. But then after him, Imam Ali, Shias, and thereafter the Imams, to be consistent about to be on this mono reality, La Tawheed, and not go into polytheism, right? And so you have to heavily depend, meaning that God who is the uncreated, the creator, the beyond existence, unknown. He's unknown. So how do you get close to him? Through his signs, his attributes, through the Imam. And you don't realize who you are actually worshipping, right? You have to get to that mono reality. Yes, you make a niyat intention, but isn't that intention superficial? That even as a Shia, not coming into polytheism at all, not even a dot is there of shirk in Shia Islam belief about this mono reality, about God being no other gods, and so this and that. You know what I mean? So there's no question of shirk here. Yes, there's no question of shirk in Shia Islam. Wiped out all shirk. Even attributes cannot be taken. But then who are you? Okay, so there's a God unknown. Whatever is in creation, you find is created. Even the seemingly absolute thing, self-evident, like pure awareness, is created. And so you have to heavily follow the Imam. Do the dua to the, whether you do it to Allah or better do it to the Imam then, I think. The only difference then in Surah Zumar ayat is that seemingly Allah is telling them that you are worshipping these awliyas that will take you to, you're saying that will bring you near to me in nearness is superficial, artificial thing of worship. Oh, you just make a niyat that actually we worship this God who has no partner, no God, no other God, who has not, who is unknown, who is beyond his creation, who is not doesn't exist but doesn't not exist, is beyond existence. That's all you have to do in niyat, right? But who are you actually? Okay, you're actually worshipping. Okay, you're actually worshipping. But who do you have to obey? Who do you have to pray to remain steadfast in this mono reality of Allah? That He is beyond all else, everything. To the Imam. And okay, you just think, but you've attached everything. Isn't this like, okay, so the glory of Allah you say, oh, Subhanallah, right? Okay, you see the creation of Allah, which is higher than you, perhaps better, or you love, and you say, Subhanallah. God, you are the creator of this. And that's how you're worshipping Him. So on the note of worship also, like what I want to say, I'm not able to maybe say properly here. I'm just saying it as an amateur maybe. Logically, if indeed Allah, so those who unquestionably for Allah is the pure religion, we need to see what the Ismailis, Tawil and Tafsir and all is about this ayat. And those who take protectors besides Him, and we're also told that they take protectors besides Allah, saying that, and we're told, they say that we only worship them that they may bring us nearer to Allah in position. So you see, for them, the worship is that what the ex-Ismailis now are saying, even. Not only the Sunnis before, against us, Shias worshipping, that they worship Imam Hussein, that they worship because they love, look at their dedication, look at their devotion. And I was thinking there's not an ounce of this kind of shirk in us. We are worshipping Allah according to our niyat. And they've misunderstood us. So near to Allah in position, but actually, like I'm not able to say it properly. I'm needing of words and all. Actually, if you take away the Imam, let's say the chosen, if you take this away, you're left with what? Just the Quran and you're gone. Then again, Allah, according to the Shia belief, that you will be a polytheist, giving attributes. Allah has a hand. You see the hadiths that has come from the Umayyads. Allah has a shin, all this. And even taking Allah with His attributes, you're shirking, according to Imam Ali's explanation. And then Shias, even like going higher up with your Imam Ali saying, wouldn't it still be unfair to these people? Because we're actually, what is this worship? What is worship? Just to recognize what Imam Ali has said, that Allah is beyond all, everything, His attributes and all this. And to know what is Tawheed. But here, we're worshipping if I can find, okay, so where have we reached here? Let me just put it in before I forget, right, in my notes. So now, what is the difference? Then what's the difference? The difference is in Surah Zumar, but we have to go, Surah Zumar ayat 3, through the Imam, right? And we have to be, there's a difference, but then, we only worship them that they may bring us, worship no one. Near to Allah in position. Allah says, do not worship. I only, in Surah Yasin, this man says, who is saved, I think he was, follow those who do not ask of you any payment, rightly guided. And why should I not worship? You see, first he says, obey those who ask no reward of you. Obeying those, right? You have to obey them. And who have themselves received guidance. So they have received guidance from God, and you need to receive guidance from them. There are certain people chosen by Allah to guide you. So will this not go into worshipping of them? The Shias would say no. What is Tawheed again? And why should I not worship He who created me and to whom you will be returned? Oh my God, do you see the hollowness of this? Like just to, but just that God, you need to know, is beyond His attributes, beyond existence, and all this, right? That's all you need to know. And that He's the unknown. And these are His attributes created for creation. But who do you follow? Who do you obey? These ones. So the only difference between Surah Zumar ayat 3 is, of course, they will guide you to the true God, about the true God, and give you knowledge about the true God. And so, how are you? You are worshipping the true God, one, only God, by realizing that He is unknown beyond anything. And actually you are obeying These people sent for you to obey by the permission of Allah and who have themselves received guidance. What a tragedy. I mean, do you know why this is a great tragedy? Because everything they felt was worship is in this. Now, Sunnis, please, you also get it that the Shias don't worship these people who they obey, who they're told to obey by the permission of Allah and being guided by the permission of Allah because they are guided by Allah. They can guide you to the true God. And why should I not worship He who created me and who has no partner and this? So it's like keep Him. Okay, the problem with me is that as a Shia, like I'm thinking, where's God now? So, like God is beyond. I see, like I have, imagination comes in. So I'm seeing the universe, the space and everything, and it's beyond all that. So He's got a position for me. And Imam Ali has said, don't give a position to Allah where He is. But I know that He can't be in creation. So He's above creation. We've given Him a position, haven't we? Automatically, naturally, my imagination goes beyond the globes, the galaxies, space and time to a position where He is. You get it? At least there it goes, stretches. Allah is beyond. So saying Allah is beyond existence, even aren't you giving us the imagination, Imam Ali? To think He's beyond, to imagine He's beyond. Taking Him beyond creation. Like He's in the He's in the beyond the boundaries of existence, right? There's a position there. You've given Him, Imam Ali. I can't help but thinking like this, imagining or thinking like this thing that comes up. I give Him the position, right? So then this is the problem. And then I'm like, oh my God, I really need to touch Him and all these problems, but that's another person that I shouldn't, I'll talk about this later. So we have these problems, right? Like my imagination comes like this. You get it? When you say that Allah is beyond existence, oops, right? So Allah, like this is existence and Allah is, there no, let's say, but here, but like, Allah is here. He's not here inside this. So there's still a position. Right? Oh God. We have given to Allah, saying He's beyond all else. That means He is, that means He's not here. He's not here. Right? He's not here. He's here. You get it? So it stretches out to, oh, He's beyond everything. And although you will say he's not even, he's not there. He's not there, right? Beyond existence doesn't mean that you use your imagination and you put him somewhere beyond existence. Somewhere. It's that there's the nowhereness. There's nowhere. There's the unknown. Right? So you wanna, the Shias would wanna explain this to me, that this beyond, but he's not here. Allah is not here, right? Whether this is how to fit a square in a circle. Okay, so this round thing is the sky, and this square thing is the earth. Yeah. He's not here. So if he is not here, now I need to contemplate on this. He's just not here. He's not here. So the all prevalent is also his attribute. Oh my goodness. What Imam Ali has done, do you see? Oh my God. Unveiling the secret. God, Ismailis. Help for the Imam also. Hazir Imam. Worshipping God through the intellect. Huh? No. You cannot even, God doesn't even come in the intellect. It is just his attributes you are worshipping then. Oh my God. No, you have to negate where. So let's go to Nasir. Let's go to, oh God, worship, conclusion. Oh my goodness. Oh, let's go to the conclusion. Ismaili teaching. Worshipping God through the intellect, conclusion. Where's the conclusion? Oh my goodness. Conclusion. Worshipping God through the intellect. None of the adherents of the other sects, nor any of the leaders except the instructor, Imam of this group, the Ismailis, has been able to go to the extent of unveiling the secret. Except the Imam, huh? That's His Highness Khan also, the fourth. Hazir Nazir Imam. At the level of human rational thought, Tawheed means exalting God, like, being in awe of Him, exalting Him above all names. How can you do that? Tawheed means exalting God above all names, attributes, descriptions, and concepts. Concepts also come from the mind. All these things come from the intellect. Just say he's above. But whatever can be said about Tawheed is in the form of human language and still cannot capture the fullness of Tawheed. Cannot capture the fullness of Tawheed. Human discourse is the product of the human mind, yes, which is created by God, of course, and therefore cannot encompass Him. No way, yes. As Nasir Khusro reminds us, we are saying all this metaphorically, not discussing the reality, hakikat, because human rational discourse not cannot deal with matters concerned with Tawheed. Of course not. It cannot deal with them directly. Discourse is powerless unable to penetrate the true realities and understanding of his epicity. I guess I have to look at the definition of this word and also the pronunciation. This is because we have already said speech and the speaker are both below the intellect. And therefore they cannot define anything. Even the speaker is below the intellect. And therefore they cannot define anything except what is already under it. Yes. Nasir Khusra Sayyidna. The full recognition of Tawheed in a mode beyond human rational discourse is a spiritual and mystical realization in the human soul and intellect called Marifa. Higher, spiritual intellect perhaps. In the Ismaili Tariqah of Islam, the Marifa of the Tawheed of God is attained through the Imam of the time. So he's indispensable. The famous Muslim philosopher, theologian, and astronomer also famous, Nasir al-Din al-Tusi, found that the Ismaili concept of Tawheed stood out among all other Muslim schools and branches as the foremost expression of the transcendent oneness of God. Oneness of God? This is also an attribute of God, oneness. Unity of God? There's no unity. That is also an attribute created. This is due to the presence of the living Imams who guide the Ismaili Muslims toward the proper understanding of Tawheed. So please, 12 Shiyas also pay attention to me here. The amateur. So that you can also leave 12 Shia Islam. Islam altogether. He is beyond any attribute by which something could be qualified. So there's no doubt that no one maintains such pure unity, Tawheed itself, except the Talimiyan. Oh, and so we can maintain the unity that God has given us here. Nasir al-Din al-Tusi. Then the perfect soul of the Imam of the time always experiences the fullness of the Marfa of God in his attributes and all, right? Not God himself. And his murids reach that recognition through the recognition Marifa of the Imam. This is the essential role of the Imam of the time. That God is beyond anything, unknown, beyond and above everything else. Unknown. So what is the Imam experiencing? He must be experiencing the full marifat of the attributes of Allah, the creation of Allah, through his knowledge, through God's knowledge. Knowledge is also created through the light, through whatever is created by Allah. Maybe his highest attribute, like the I am, the witness, right? The highest witness. When the Quran says Allah is the witness. So now, we cannot know the proof only by the signs and attributes that there is a God. So this is the essential role of the Imam of the time embodied in the Ismaili Muslim daily prayer called dua. That's why this dua is more important, must be, than salat now. that these ex-Ismailis are going to a salat, becoming Sunnis. So in their own right, it's right, dua is the most important to Imam of the time, rather than salat to Allah. Allah sends salat to the believers. Salli, Surah 33, Ayat 43, I think. So yes, so actually, the Sunnis might think that we are worshipping this, the Imam, the Ismailis, or that we are worshipping him. That's what he's done, Prophet Muhammad and his progeny. The Sahabas have done something else, like saying, oh, polytheism and idol worship way, all this. But polytheism is also giving names to and worshipping Allah with the attributes. Worshipping Allah through the intellect is also shirk. You're not really worshipping Allah. Even the Imam is marifat of God's attributes and things, that he's other. The only marifat that this Imam has of Allah is that he's beyond all else. No one has that marifat. Only this Imam has this marifat. And whatever you are worshipping, if you're taking niyat, you're taking the intention, understanding that he's beyond. But how are you understanding this? Through the spiritual. What spiritual way can you understand? What proof is that he is beyond? Logic, you will need, so you'll be dependent on what is created to say what is the uncreated creator. Oh, goodness. There seems to be some, wouldn't there be? That these signs tell you, created things are telling you. It's not enough. Logical fallacies coming, I think. I'm not a PhD. I wish I was in philosophy even. Like maybe I should have gone to UK or Cambridge, Oxford University. Or America. Ivy Leagues. So, and studied all those Greek and philosophers. So you see, the highest marifat of this Imam is that Allah is beyond all else. Right? Now, can you worship Allah in the attributes? No. You better do dua to Imam. And the perfect soul of the Imam of time always experiences, the fullness of the marfa of God, that he's beyond all else. And all else that exists, what is the marfa of God? There's no marfa of God, like in the sense that he's the unknown, he's beyond. So you're worshipping his attributes. Sunni way, you're worshipping his attributes, him and his attributes. What are you doing? Shirk, polytheism. You've gone away from Tawheed. Shia side, you think you're not polytheist? Yes, you're not polytheist. But, so there's something illogical here too. This is the essential role of the Imam of the time and embodied in the Ismaili Muslim daily prayer called dua. The Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah also alluded to this when he said that the real miracle of Hazrat Ali is that he brought people to the truth. The terrible tragedy of Hazrat Ali is that he brought you to the lie, right? That's the terrible tragedy, Shias. Deception and lies. There's no merging with God. Like you call yourself, like Mansur al-Halad said, Ana al-Haq. That's just an attribute of God that Mansur al-Halad said, and you said he's God. He's saying he's God. So who would kill him? The Ismailis will not kill him, because Imam knows it's just an attribute of God. That poor man is saying Ana al-Haq, attribute of God. But obedience, guide sent here, all this, honoring even the names, attributes of Allah is what? Praising His attributes. Then, what are we doing actually? The human soul who realizes Tawheedat, both the rational and the spiritual level, is then able to worship God through an intellectual or Gnostic worship. So now they're calling this intellect a Gnostic worship, which is a high spiritual, metaphysical ibadah, al-ilmiya, through knowledge. Okay, the lowest intellect has been told by the Imam Ali, that you cannot, logically, that Allah is beyond all else, His attributes and everything. In which human beings find ultimate awe and felicity. That's it. You just feel felicity. Oh, you're celebrating the awe and God and in His attribute. Yeah, He's beyond. So what happens? Then you're just in awe. And then you're like, they see the signs of Allah and they go down weeping. Bukiya. Surah Maryam ayat. That's all. Right? It's not merging with Allah, becoming one. So all scriptures has a double meaning, an exoteric and an esoteric. In the sphere of the former, worship is literal and symbolic. Okay, thank God they've reached worship here. Now, so all scriptures, okay, exoteric but worship, which could bring shirk in. So an Ismaili, however, is privy to a hidden esoteric truth in addition, as he worships with esoteric symbols. And formulae in conformity with Islamic law. He takes cognizance of the true deity, the remote, awesome, unknowable, ineffable, Neoplatonic one, stripped, both physically stripped. It's like naked. No, not naked, not clothed, nothing. You can't describe him in words. Right? So stripped both physically and spiritually of all attributes, that's it, and of all description and limits. So if he has no limits, why can't he come into his creation as all prevalent, limitless? Why is the creation limiting him? Again, can we ask that way? Now since limit, so I was going on worship, now I jump to limit. Now, so he is of all attributes and of all description and limit. Now, if Allah is limitless, Ismailis, please tell me, come. That's my principal style. Come. When the teachers came to her office for a picture, group photograph, some of them were standing outside, weren't going inside her office, thinking that there may not be enough room. So she was like, come, 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 there's enough room. Plenty of room in the heart. She had a big heart, I guess. Yeah. So now, if Allah is limitless, why are you limiting Allah to saying that He's, I'm sure the Ismailis must have thought of this. Allah is limitless. Sorry if I'm talking this way, I've become too funny now for me. Allah is limitless. Then, then He can or cannot. The Shias will say He cannot because Imam Ali taught them this way. He cannot. He can be everywhere, regardless. Let's take the Hindus everywhere, like Shiva, 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 everywhere, regardless of the limits of creation, meaning all prevalent, meaning all prevalent. So even the limits of creation does not limit him to be, or Shia, Imam Ali, or cannot be in his creation. Which one is true, tell me? Which one makes more sense? When they've said it, Allah is limitless, right? He has no limits, meaning He's limitless. Ismailis, bear witness. You've said it here. Please tell me. Of all attributes and of all description and limit, He is free from, right? Allah is free from limits. Now tell me. Tell me if you can see darkness and light. Can you see darkness and light? Now tell me if you can see darkness and light. If you can see light and darkness, or darkness in light, the opposites. Huh? So now we've come to Allah is limitless. Then He can be everywhere. Then He can be everywhere. Sorry, there's a mistake here. Then He can be everywhere, right? Regardless of the limits of everywhere, meaning He everywhere, not beyond everywhere and nowhere. Nowhere? No, He cannot be in the nowhereness, right? Or can He just be emptiness? Or is He just emptiness, like, is He empty? Like in Mr. God, this is Anna. Anna told Finn, God is empty. She worked it out. Not needing anything, right? Okay, so he can be everywhere regardless of limits of creation, meaning all prevalent, or cannot. Like the Shia, Imam Ali says, be in his creation. What is it? Let's contemplate on this. So ending for now, and we'll continue the series on the God beyond existence and creation. Thank you so much, Grishma Teneru. God bless you. Thank you for the love. I appreciate that. Such a greatest gift you can give to someone. That maybe God has given this for creation and existence also. This is the reason why it's created, for love. But let's see this needless God. This is where even in Hinduism, like Shiva, I get stuck. How can this pure awareness, which is like, timeless, limitless, create time and all? So I've been watching a lot of trying to figure it out by through The Alchemist. Thanks to a lot of thanks, much appreciated. She's got a lot of knowledge coming to her through claircognizance. She's very claircognizant. So this is Sarah Al-Khaldi, and her channel is The Alchemist on YouTube. Thanks to her. So I'm watching all that too, and we're contemplating on this. Meanwhile, one of her videos took me back to, should be working this out online. So continuing next time on Allah is limitless, right? Then can he be all prevalent, and can we then say he cannot, not that he cannot be in his creation, but his creation doesn't affect him. So he's all prevalent. His creation doesn't affect his reality of being all prevalent, unaffected. Can we say that? Okay, I'll see if I'll come again. So, beautiful day, beautiful life. I wish for you, Grishma Taneru, and love divine. And you are love. You are love divine. Wish for you a beautiful, wonderful life. Everlasting, everlasting. So I think the only thing would be everlasting would be if we're in love. Then in love there's no boredom, there's no, in repetition, we're repeating in what is, like we want that frozen, we want the time frozen, that moment, that special moment spent with the loved ones. We want it to go forever, don't we? Or even go forever, or be repeated, so there's no boredom in love. So that kind of everlasting, for some people it would be, oh no, I don't want to exist forever, this is for me also. I thought, why shouldn't I just go into nothingness? Right? Instead of that boring. And please don't think of Sunnis, leave that God knows 72 horis and what in the heaven you will be getting and what. So there's no boredom. Repeating, 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 everlasting love. And it's always a new love coming up. Like with the same person. Oh, it's so beautiful. Right? I've experienced that. So Michael Bolton's, it's a new love. Every time just feeling so much. Like the friend. So, okay, thank you very much. I don't know what to say. I'm without words. Grishma Teneru, you always come here and with such admiration, you say excellence, and you're so cooperative, and I just don't have words. I wish you the very, 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 the bestest, the best of life and ever, forever. and your country, your people, your family members, your friends. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. I cannot say how much it means to me. Your cooperation here, your words of encouragement, your love here. It means so much to me. You have saved a life, actually. You keep saving my life here. Another encouraging thing to come back for. But you don't have to come here every time. I come here, you can watch my live streams later on. Thank you so much.